Good evening and welcome to Get Seen in the Poconos. We are here live from Shawnee on the Delaware. We're at WSMR 100.FM, and we are so happy to have all of you here this evening joining us. With me tonight is Jesse Messenger.
Hi there.
Hi, Jesse. How are you doing?
Doing really well. It seems that the snow really, last week, right before the show, we were gonna be doing it then, and this tonight
Yep.
as well. So
Well,
nothing got in the way this time.
welcome to the Poconos.
Glad to be here. Glad to be here.
Tell us a little bit about your business.
Oh, sure. So we're a digital agency, and what we do is we help to shape brand identity for businesses, organizations, or individuals in the Poconos, but we also do a lot of global work, and that includes things like web development or technology integrations. And it's basically like we have consultations with people, figure out what their business problems might be, and we leverage technology to solve those in as efficient a way possible without hiccups or inconveniences to people, or as much as we can.
That's great.
Yeah.
How did you get interested in this kind of business?
My mother is amazing with computers, and she's a computer analyst. She telecommutes from Los Angeles all the way to New Jersey, and because of that, and because of her always having that sort of gig, we've had a computer in the house since I was about 7 years old. And there's always the guy in the family, even for my grandparents or whomever, fixing the computers up and stuff like that. And eventually, I just started kind of having to solve problems to get things that I wanted done on computers or the internet or networks. And now we do it for a living because I feel like I can help a lot of people, and in that regard.
So, I mean, that's how you got interested. But how did you actually decide that, this is what I want to do for my business? Is it just because you grew up with it, it was in your blood, or did you really feel that there was a need for quality branding in this area?
Well, yeah, I see it's definitely the branding. I think that a lot of, how we interact as people, there's a lot of aesthetic, right? So surface value is extremely important, and the way that we interact with each other is like the number one hurdle that we either have to go over, or the best point that we can relate on. And so I think really what it came down to is I've dealt with other web developers, or I've dealt with other marketers, and I've seen or felt certain vibes that I personally didn't gel with, and or certain vibes that I absolutely gelled with and decided I wanted to integrate. And I found that there was a little bit of a niche here for me to sort of start a firm. And work from home, support my family, and do good work for the good people.
So you live in the Stroudsburg area, Pocono Mountains?
Yeah, actually, I live in Penn Estates. So,
okay,
yeah.
All right. And you have family?
I do. I have 3 children and a wife, and 3 children. We have a 7-year-old, Skylie. She's our eldest. Our middle daughter, Novalyn. She's the funniest thing. And our son, Phoenix. He's a whirlwind. Totally out of this world, that guy.
That's great.
Yeah.
And your wife?
Yeah, Jamie Copenhaver. She's awesome. She's extremely supportive. I can't do any of this without her. She wrangles up the kids, and she teaches our eldest. I can't speak highly enough of her in that regard, for sure.
That's great.
Yeah.
And you said your mom was kind of the person that really supported you as far as getting started and teaching you about computers?
Well, she just has always been using them. She's always been using them, and so it's really like, we've had them in the house because of that, and she's hooked me up with, computer games when I was younger, and, and when I was a teenager, just wanting to, access the internet or things like that, and not necessarily being able to, having to kind of find my way around some things, but she's also been extremely supportive as I've grown into this company, and we've gone through a lot, so.
So where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Well, my dream is to actually have a firm with, specific departments that handle specific functionalities when it comes to branding, or when it comes to support, or when it comes to development or creative, because I think that, keeping all of that sort of stuff in-house is a very, and having integrated clients, is a very good way to make sure that the messaging stays cohesive. And I find that when you're kind of all over the place with, I work with this company for this, or I work with this company for that, I find that the end result is lesser than the sum of its parts. Whereas if you have sort of all of these resources in one place, that you can leverage as a client, or we can leverage to help our clients, I find that it's the better outcome. So in 5 years, I would love to have actual locations that we can meet with people, and to have assembled a greater staff, and we're on the way to that. We're on
That's
the way
great.
to that.
So we have a lot of young people that actually listen to our show.
Awesome.
So what would you tell them if they were interested in getting into this kind of business? Where should they start?
I mean, honestly, the best way to learn anything is by doing it. And normally, if you really want to learn something, there's a ton of resources online. There's a ton of projects that you could take on, from the smallest things like, okay, let's set up a Minecraft server. You know what I mean? How do I do that? Okay, you're going to learn a lot of things there. You're going to learn how to actually deploy a server. You're going to learn how to initiate the code to do it. Some design things, because you're going to want to make it the way that you want. And there's that sort of thing. And there's other resources that you could use, like Code Academy. Code Academy is fantastic. They've got interactive platforms that you can learn how to HTML, CSS, JavaScript, the foundational building blocks of these types of things. And
that's all Greek to me, I got to tell you.
Yeah. Well, so it's what makes the website, what makes the internet the internet. It's
right.
The core thing, But it honestly, in this day and age, there are so many resources available to people. Really, you can do whatever you'd like.
Can you tell everyone that is out there listening your contact information, what the name of your company is again, how they can reach you?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'm Jesse Messenger, principal and owner of Attractive Media. Our website is attractive.media or attractivemedia.net, whatever's easier. And you can give me a call. My cell phone number is 570-982-5644. We can talk about your business, or tech solutions, or any of that kind of stuff. And you could just go right on our website and fill out the forms. It's all good. It comes right to me. And
actually, we met Jesse at one of our business card exchanges, which we have every month. And we have one that's going to be coming up at CDE in Tannersville. Unfortunately, it's been sold out. So, if that was what you were planning on attending, you're not going to be able to attend it with us this month. But if you have any interest in hosting a business card exchange for Get Seen in the Poconos, please reach out to us at getseeninthepoconos@gmail.com. And we'll be glad to have a conversation with you about possibly hosting us. And Jen, I can't see that. I have Jen who's there.
Super helpful.
Holding up. Now I can see it. Hold it up again. Oh, okay. So, which is a great question. I'm assuming that came in from the internet. Someone wants to know how much you charge and what you do during your consultations.
Well, I mean, so the cost thing is always, everybody wants to know what that is, but honestly, everything is custom tailored like a good suit. Like any clothing, that needs to be specifically built for the individual. We do have sort of package rates or any like that kind of stuff, but really the best thing to do is to just call and talk, because the idea is we can really map out the project in these consultations that we do, right? So we'll talk about the problems that you're facing, where you'd like to go, and what you've already done, and then sort of address this with our modern approach and way of just kind of like cutting to the chase, and phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and just make sure that everything falls within the budget, and we're very reasonable with that kind of stuff.
If say there's a senior citizen that's
Sure.
interested in becoming more astute with the internet, because that seems to be a real issue for so many of our seniors. They want to know about computers, but they don't know where to go. Where should they go? What should they do in order to get more astute?
Okay, well, I mean, honestly, when it comes to becoming more astute, there's a ton of reading that one can do online. But honestly, it can be tricky, because if you aren't already comfortable with navigating the internet, you can sometimes find yourself in areas that are trickier than others. And it's funny that this question comes up, because I actually volunteered some time at the Penn Estates. They have like a seniors day.
Yes, actually.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and
right there in their main center, correct?
Yeah, the Oak Room. It's really nice. It was Western themed. It was pretty funny. I brought a cactus and a little toy horse in, and we had to talk about internet security and
oh yeah,
and maintaining your confidentiality and all that sort of stuff, protecting yourselves from scams and everything. Honestly, what it comes down to is, to becoming more tech savvy, just talk with people. If don't be afraid to ask questions. Like, okay, if you see somebody they have a nice piece of like tech, a good phone or something like that, or they're using a computer or a piece of software on a computer or a program on a computer, don't be afraid to just ask. That's really where this day and age, it's all about open communication, and knowledge is not necessarily power. It's really about the relationships that we form. So the idea is, if you see something or if you have questions, don't hesitate to ask. It's really
Talk to us a little bit about scam, because
okay.
Unfortunately it is out there. It is prevalent. I know so many people will say, oh, I don't really believe that happens. But I know for us ladies out here on the internet, it's a daily event to get messages and people trying to reach out to us and trying to scam us.
Sure. I mean, so like it's crazy because there's so many different types of that kind of communication, and it's usually malicious, right? But the idea is, just to try to not respond to or interact with things that are either not from people that you trust, or just have like an air of, there's something weird about this post, or there's something weird about this email. And the funny stuff that happens is when like somebody's account on Facebook gets hacked, or somebody gets access to their login credentials. Then that person will make this random post and tag a whole bunch of people, right? And then you'll see like, oh, this person tagged you in so and so. There'll be a link. You click on it. It brings you to a page that is, say, Facebook or a banking page or PayPal or something like that, asking you to sign in. Right. And that's the biggest type of issue, I think, when it comes to this online scams. The other stuff is just spreading bad information. Really, that's what it comes down to. Okay, so you don't want to share personal information, right? Like if somebody asks for social security numbers, banking passwords, or
even your children's names.
It's really like that. I mean, we share a lot of information today, and we use platforms like Facebook or Instagram or even LinkedIn that kind of puts our private lives in a much more of a spotlight. So we have to be a little bit more careful about the information we do share, and just make sure that our privacy settings are set to either restrict post visibility to people that are friends or friends of friends. The more public you get with all of your posting, the more open you are to this sort of thing. Now, it's not going to happen guaranteed, but it can. And, like it's always good to put up those sort of safeguards.
I love the one where they contact you and say, oh, have you heard the news? And you say, and I always say, what is that? Because I know what's coming next. It's like a scripted thing. Oh, kind of have you heard about the government giving? I just got my $55,000 check back, and you can too. And I think, wow, I wonder how many people have actually fallen for this.
Oh, a substantial amount. Even like to touch on that sort of thing with that communication, it's crazy. Where you have people claiming to be Microsoft support, saying that they've detected your computer's calling home and detecting that there's like a virus or some sort of tech issue, and then they need to tunnel into your computer and fix this thing or so, and they'll even use some crazy social engineering, like read this thing. And read this thing, and they'll confirm and be like, okay, yeah, now there's trust factors. Now you let them in. They install the rootkit on your computer. They can control it, from remotely. The biggest thing is a lot of these people. Okay, Microsoft, they're never going to call you.
Neither is the IRS, just so everyone knows.
Never.
The IRS will never call you, and they won't send the cops to your house.
No, it doesn't work like that. It can't work like that. There's too many people. Microsoft's they've got too many customers, and to have these types of infrastructure, it's just to be calling out people, it just doesn't make fiscal sense. The IRS, everything's official with them. It has to be. You're going to receive letters if there are any problems.
That's great. Yeah. Jesse, we want to thank you so much for coming and joining us today
Yeah.
on Get Seen in the Poconos. I'm Sarah Smith-Katz. It is always a pleasure to be here with all of you listeners. We want to let you know again that you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at Get Seen in the Poconos. Our email is getseeninthepoconos@gmail.com. If you're interested in either being on the show or hosting a business card exchange, or if you have any questions, please reach out to us. We're always happy to hear from all of you. But until next week, you've been listening to Get Seen in the Poconos right here at WSMR 100.FM. Have a great Thanksgiving. We hope to, hear from all of you at some point soon. Have a great evening.
Thank you.